Hey, it's the Nazarite bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore on this Purim. And sun's about to go down, so just a few thoughts as the day winds down. Purim is about reversal. It's about a time when there was a great tragedy that was prevented pretty much at the last minute. Well, although the times elude me right now, but I mean the difference in the times wasn't great. Let's put it that way. It was a near miss, or something like that. And it's a day when traditionally you dress up, you reverse yourself from things that you are to what you are not externally. Um, Meaning that through costumes and dress up, you reveal other sides of yourself. And there is the commandment or custom of drinking more than usual. And in the Talmud, it says that you should drink, they phrase it, until you don't know the difference between Haman and Mordechai. There's this unknowing, right? We human beings are consciousness, awareness, knowing. We know things. Biblically, knowing is also a very deep thing. There's knowledge. And then there's the unknown. Purim is a day when it's one day we set aside for some, let's say, psychedelia in the sense of mind expansion. It's a day when one should drink, and some actually, I've done this in the past, back when I would drink. There was once where I was so drunk on Purim, I did not know the difference between Haman and Mordechai. And I threw up all over my parents' bathroom, and let's move on. It's better that I don't drink. So this drunkenness, this psychedelia, this mind expansion helps you to reach from the known, from everyday life, from a holiday, something that's temporal and drink, physical activities, you're able to reach a kind of spirituality. Call it through drunkenness, but you can get drunk on other things than alcohol. The custom is with wine, since wine appears so many times in the Scroll of Esther, it's only fitting. And there are many secrets that have to do with wine. One famous one, which I'm translating now, is "In goes the wine, out comes the secret." Something to that effect. It's a day when we reverse ourselves. There's a reversal which occurs. If you wanted to, there's a reversal that can occur. You can also just live out this day as if it's a regular day. Most of my Purim today wasn't very Purim, which is why I decided to do this around sundown-ish as the day winds down, like I said. The day of Purim is said to be the highest day of the year, spiritually speaking. Because you get to go to places, you expand your mind in ways you usually do not or cannot. So on this specific day, it has a great quality, certain properties and attributes. It has to do with the gematria. It has to do with a lot of things. What also was reversed on this day is, at the time in the kingdom of Persia back in the day, the Jews that survived this tragedy, it was reversed, and they were able to do judgment upon those who would do it on them first. They reversed things in the sense of they retook their oaths, let's say. They reestablished the covenant that's from the days of Moses. It was a kind of affirmation of Judah, right? The Jews that survived. Those people in that area, that's also part of why Esther wanted the sages to commemorate this and canonize it in the Bible. There was a new covenant, and I don't mean that in a New Testament kind of way. I mean a new covenant in the sense that Joshua made a covenant. Kings, mainly from Judah, if I'm not mistaken, made covenants with people at different times. That kind of covenant. Which was, we are re-accepting the law of Moses, the Torah. We're re-accepting it. Now, this was a time between when a former king of Persia had given the Jews, the permission to already go to Jerusalem and set up the temple again. It was somewhere in between the first and second temple. I'm not sure how close to the second temple. Mordechai, I think, did come back to Zion, but leave. The details elude me. I will look them up after this video. But let's carry on. I want to carry on reversal. We human beings, a lot is said about mindset, mindfulness, awareness, all that, because you can reverse a lot in your mind. I'm not saying that you can, poof, it's magic, I reversed it. If you say, I'm reversing the situation now, you're not a genie. But there are, some people call that avoidance techniques. There is some merit to that. There is some merit to those who use it properly. But the point I'm trying to make is that reality is not something you can simply reverse. In some cases, it is. And this is what I'm saying. You can't always do it. In some cases, you can. Sometimes it's all about mindset. This varies from male, female, masculine, feminine, however you want to take it. I see great division there, or certainly some lines. I pretty much agree with what David Data says in The Way of the Superior Man, especially in the case of my wife and I. We've been together for almost 20 years, so it's I see it there. There's a different way to go about it, but you can reverse a situation to some degree with your mind. You can do this with a mantra. You can do this with breathing. You can do this with speech. You can find your way to align yourself, if not completely the way you want it to be, something to remind you of a fundamental truth that you carry with you. You can reverse a situation if you, to some degree, this is why I have this. I wanted something external to be part of my spiritual journey. So I could look at it in times when I'm not being myself, not being what this hair represents, and say, this is how I want to be now. And the same thing happened with the Jews over there. They went through that. They were almost annihilated. And when they were given their liberty, they were still in the diaspora. They were still in exile, but they were not annihilated. So when they were given that option, they said, we're taking back, we are reclaiming the covenant of Moses, the covenant of the children of Israel. That's a beautiful thing, to reestablish something after such a great tragedy. I haven't gone through major tragedies in my life, in my estimation, but I think that I'll take from the film adaptation. Charlie Kaufman directed it. Jones directed it. Charlie Kaufman wrote it. One of my favorites. And there's a character there that goes into a coma and comes out of it. And she divorces her husband almost immediately afterwards. And someone else says, I would have done the same. If I was in a coma, I would have completely reversed that. I would have just taken it that way. The Jews back then, who were almost annihilated, they could have seen this as a purely political thing, not attribute any divine, what's the word I'm looking for? Intervention to it. But they chose to saw God in nature. They chose to saw the divinity in the everyday, in the politics, in the conniving, in the dirty details of assassinations and hatred and genocide. They chose to say, okay, we made it through this. We will rededicate ourselves in the way of the Lord and reclaim whatever it is that we lost, that caused us to come here and go through this, to have Jerusalem burned, our temple destroyed, all that, to come here and then go through this. We got to make a choice, and we choose to re-accept the covenant of Moses, of Abraham, of the children of Israel. So I'd like to do that right now, on camera, for myself. Like I said, it hasn't been the most Purim of Purims today. Last night was awesome, today less for me. But I feel I can still reverse it. It's still Purim. sun is kind of going down, but it's still towards the end of this very holy and sacred day. And by sacred, I mean that you can reach that unknown. You have an expansion of the mind. And sacred in the sense that it's separated. Like I said, you designate this day for a certain experience. You make it sacred. That's what to be holy is. That's what to be separated is. This is a day of separation. The original name of Yom Kippur is Yom HaKippurim as Purim. That's what it sounds like. And some say that when the Messiah comes, and if you believe it's Jesus, then go ahead and believe it. And if you believe it's someone else from the house of David who's yet to come, go ahead and believe that. That when the Messiah comes, all of the holidays will be null and void or canceled out, except for this holiday of Purim. All the other holidays have to do with agriculture, with freedom and liberty, salvation. They have to do with the seasons. They have to do with things happening in the physical world. And Purim has to do with everything in the physical, because it's seemingly without any divine intervention. The name of God is not mentioned in the scroll of Esther, but it reaches the highest points because of that. From all that known physical stuff, you could reach the highest point that a human being in a body can. Kind of very ancient emanation of God, let's say. I want to reclaim that. Part of that is mine, same as it belongs to every human being. I want to reclaim that right now and make it so I'll be able to do more, to do better for myself and for others, to reclaim that covenant and keep it, and let it teach me new things, how I can better myself as an individual for my betterment and for others. And let's have a wonderful year until the next Purim. God bless.